everybody. You are now listening to the Overflow Podcast with Jae and Joaquin.
What up, everybody? We are back. We've been gone for 800 weeks. I don't even know. I lost track. I lost count. But we are here, and we're proud to be here because, you know, it is Pride Month. Since we don't celebrate that, but we celebrate being proud of being Puerto Ricans that love Jesus. So as always, I'm Joaquin, and
I am in disbelief because pride comes before the fall.
oh,
Yo, I'm Jay. What's good, everybody? It's been 2 weeks, but it's for a good reason. Trust me. We have good reasons.
yeah, we've been,
good reasons for not being here. So
yeah, we've been all over the place. We've had all kinds of things. So we're gonna get to that in a little bit. But just as always, let me just say that I'll get into a little bit later. But last week was really good for moi. And you know what? I'll just say it right now. So last week I was on vacation. I went to Los Cabos, Mexico, and out there on the Pacifico, and the Hard Rock. It was dope. As Jay knows, after my honeymoon, I became I want to do nothing but all-inclusive vacations at least once a year from now on because it's the bomb diggity. Yo. Now, I will say this. Number one, it was windy as heck. Did not realize it was windy. Number two, we couldn't get into the ocean because the waters were so rough. They were like, you can't go in. Like the riptide would have just sucked right on in. And the beach that we were on, or the beach that the resort was on, I think it went out like 20 feet, and there was like 150, 200, 300 foot drop.
Wow. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Right. So then the ocean, if it sucked you in, you would have been visiting the Little Mermaid, right? If you're lucky. Number three.
You would have been down there. You would have been under the sea.
Yeah. Number three, I think Ariel's dad tried to get me. All the trash talking we did. Because the water, you know how when the water comes in, so I ran, I dipped my toes in the water, right? In the Pacific. And I stood there, I was talking to this guy, right? And then the water rolled in again, and it covered to my ankles. And it came in again, it came up like almost to my shins, and the sand started pulling away.
What? Oh, because of sand.
Yeah, you know, so I'm like, so I pull it back. You know, and the guys pulling back. We're like, you know. I think Jenny took a picture. I'll send it to you. Where I'm just like, as I'm trying to pull away. It was like dope. But I will say this: we were walking along the beach, riding the waves, like parallel to the beach.
Yeah.
Were like stingrays.
Oh, nice.
Like. Not just stingrays, but there were like schools of them, right? Like bunches of them just going. And then you see them pop out of the water and back in.
That's so
pop
dope.
Back in.
So,
and I tried to take a picture, but it was too far away, right? I mean, with the phone, it just.
Yeah. No, your phone would have been able to take a picture. I got to tell you the secrets on how to use your phone to take this picture. Now,
I learned, because then we did a day cruise. Where like we went out into the Sea of Cortez, you know, we saw that Los Cabos Arch, you know, hit the Pacific, we jumped in the water, you know, it was great, it was beautiful. The guy on the boat was saying that the manta rays or the stingrays, whichever rays they were that were just jumping out of the water, those are the males, and they're doing it to impress the females. And my father, I told this to my father starts laughing. He goes, no matter what species, guys will do whatever they can to try to impress a female, no matter how dumb it is.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
So those stingrays, I think they made it all the way up to New York because Milena, my oldest, for those of you who don't know, texted me that her boyfriend and his dad took Kenny out fishing, right? For yesterday, for Father's Day. And Kenny caught a stingray.
Nice. Tell him. Or I should say.
I had to throw it back.
I should say crikey. Because, those guys took out. Well, that was a man. Anyway, they're all related.
Whichever one of those rays. They're all
related. It's like Puerto Rican, Dominican. We're all related.
Yeah.
As much trash.
Go for dinner. You make my phone go for dinner, and it turns into mango for breakfast.
And both are delicious.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. But yeah, so I was out there, man. It was fun. We did a couple of excursions, some shopping. When
you were gone, I was trying to convince either the wife,
right,
to do like a preview podcast for our followers and listeners of Road to Legacy.
Right.
Just like get it out the way, like an intro, and we'll put it on the Overflow podcast because people know and they've been following, right? And then we'll start it already. And she was like, "Nope, not ready."
Oh, not ready.
Then,
listen, your wife loves to talk. That's all she's got to do. Yeah, Magda, I hope you heard that.
Nobody's here. But then I think it's the video aspect of it. That she gets nervous on. And then I try to get Anthony to do the episode with me. And we can talk about the Flash.
Right.
Like a non-spoiler conversation about the Flash.
How dare you?
As non-spoiler as we could.
How dare you?
Because we had already seen it. Right? We had already seen it. Because when you come back, then we could do full spoiler.
Right. I feel betrayed, man. I feel betrayed.
Everything, right? But it's funny you say that. But I was like, you know what? Nah, we're good. Like, I can't nerd out. I can't nerd out the same way.
Hey, he's a Marvel dude anyway. Tell him to kick rock.
No episode this week. And then Christina texted me. No episode. Like no,
Christina. That's why there was no episode because I was in Los Cabos with my wife and daughter having the time of my life. Yeah, man. I rode a camel. We did some ATVs. Did a ship ride, like they pulled up the sails on the boat and we hit the Pacific and we sailed back. It was dope,
nice.
dope.
That's dope.
Ate a lot of good food. Thought to myself, how can I get Jae and Magda to join us, but like just be like no kids. So I'm just saying, that's what I thought to myself for a week because it'd be so much fun. But
We can do that.
Because it is. I mean, when you look at prices for all inclusives, I mean, they cost, right? But it's everything. It's all inclusive, right? You don't even have to leave the place.
The thing with that idea is I'm like, yo, dope. Let's do it. Let's set it up.
Right.
Let's plan it. Make it happen, right? Mom.
Word dizzle. Word dizzle.
Or maybe even with mom is better. Because I was thinking like the refugees down in Siesta Key. But nah, mom is better. Because then we can we could fly out of Atlanta.
Right, like the commercial. Remember the old commercial where like they hey, come say hi to grandma and grandpa. Hey, my grandpa, here you go.
Don't leave us with the babies. Yeah, but no, we can drive up to Georgia, right?
Fly out of Georgia.
My mom, and then we all fly out of Atlanta together, right?
That's right, direct flight. I'll pay for direct flights. I don't like doing layovers.
But
Yeah, okay.
But my gun won't be into that. Like, I have to convince her to like
Well,
really fight and struggle about leaving the kids behind.
well, they're older now. They can hold down jobs. They're kids their ages that are making your tennis shoes, your Nikes. So I mean, listen, they're fine.
My Nikes, their Nikes.
They're Nikes, yeah. So little hands make the world go round. But yeah, man, so that was it. That was it. Now we're gonna get about what you were doing the week before while we didn't have. But let's jump in real quick.
We'll bookend. So
What? Real quick.
Nah, there's nothing to be real quick about this. So before we jumped on, Joaquin sent me a link to the trailer for Sony's new movie called Kraven, which is out of the Spider-Man universe, right? The Marvel universe, but
yeah.
specifically Spider-Man. And he watched it. I watched it here with Anthony, with my nephew, with Anthony, because he's more of a Marvel guy, as Joaquin said. And we had differing takes on that, right? Because Joaquin knows nothing about Kraven outside of like the cartoon, right? The 90s Spider-Man cartoon.
Yep. I know that he hunted Spider-Man, and that's about it, right? And he was Russian, which you reminded me of. He was
Russian. So in the trailer,
I was Spider.
He has no Russian accent.
Right, which is
not even.
It's no Russian. No accent is better than a bad accent.
Right? Yeah. I mean, no, I'd rather have a bad Russian accent, because if he was raised, let's say like he was raised in the UK, right? Then a bad Russian accent makes sense, right? Like the Spanish accents that they're Latinos, but they have that gringo Spanish accent, right? So at least there's an attempt, right?
Right. See J-Lo in her last movie speaking Spanish.
Exactly. And
that's right, J-Lo.
Even though she spoke a small amount of Spanish, that small amount was grating.
It was bad.
She
needs to talk to Ben, get some lessons from him.
Yo, did you see the interview that she did where she says that? Like, she admits that Spanish is better than hers? Yeah. Anyway.
And I'm sorry, but I have to say, and Ben sounds straight up Mexican.
Straight Mexican. No, but he says he's
straight Mexican.
Like, he says he's Mexican. Like, I've seen him in an interview saying that he considers himself like an honorary Mexican. So I don't care. Like, I would love to meet Ben Affleck and just speak Spanish with him. Yeah. Like, let's just hang out and speak Spanish. Right?
And call him El Batman.
El Batman.
El Batman.
Right? Listen. So that didn't bother me. I'm just pointing that out. That didn't bother me because you don't read an accent in the comics. But I grew up reading Spider-Man. So I was talking to Fu down here, and we were talking about how he loves Spider-Man and I love Superman. But like, for me, Superman is number one, right? And if I'm gonna if I was gonna say if I had a number one in Marvel, it would be Spider-Man.
Okay.
Right? So for me, it's Superman, then Spider-Man. These were the two that I was always reading. And for him, it's the opposite. Spider-Man, then Superman. Well, his was between Superman and Batman. But anyway, right? So I read a lot of Spider-Man comics. And so Kraven in the comic books was just like Kraven in the 90s cartoon. He was an extremely amazing hunter. He didn't have any powers.
Right.
He didn't have any super strength. He was just, if you can think of somebody who he was like an expert marksman, an expert trappist, and I'm not talking about the genre, and he was just an expert hunter. Like, he knew, and an expert tracker, right? So he knew.
Trappist. Was he a monk?
No, a trappist. As far as the traps that he was set to catch animals.
Yeah, he's a trap. I'm gonna Google trappist just because that just doesn't sound right. It sounds like we're making up words.
I hope I'm right. Anyway.
No.
Trappist monks.
Yeah, I come up with beer and cheese.
Beer and cheese. Thank you, Trappist monks. Anyway, he like if there was a hunter or a marksman or somebody or tracker or whatever who was at the top of his game, then Kraven was like miles ahead of that guy, right? So it was Kraven and then everybody else. So like he was even able to set traps for Spider-Man that would set off Spider-Man's spider sense like last minute. Like that's how good he was. Like
Right.
Spider-Man would get even with the Spider-Man with his spider sense, Spider-Man would still get caught off guard, right? But this trailer had him gaining powers from a radioactive lion.
Yeah. From the spirit of a lion.
Right? He was a radioactive lion, right? He has
It's quite a movie from the 80s. The gods must be crazy.
Right? But Russell Crowe is in it, and he in that little bit that we saw, he looked amazing. Like
he plays
like
his dad.
Right? And it looked great, right? It looked
Dude, like
great.
the scene,
And
it was a little chilling, that scene where they're like, you sent our mother away, and he was like, she was weak.
She was weak.
I was like,
dude, when after he got attacked by the lion, apparently he's on the floor. They say he's weak like his mother.
Leave him, let him die.
Let him die. I'm like, oh.
We know who not getting a Father's Day card, which was Sunday.
Right, and then the ending of that trailer. I'll let you take that.
Yeah. So what was the ending? I forget. I talk so much stuff. I always.
The Rhino ending, man.
Oh, that's right, the Rhino ending. So the Rhino, another Spider-Man villain. The guy who looks well in the cartoons it looked like he was wearing a rhino suit. Like he was just a roided out dude wearing a rhino suit.
He was.
So, but in the movie, like the dude that's gonna be the Rhino, like you see his skin like gray up and get leathery, right? Like rhino skin. So I like it. It's got the same vibe as Venom. I never watched Morbius. Maybe I need to watch it just so that I can say I watched it, but it's got to be better than Ant-Man.
No, you won't be able to get through it.
Oh, okay. Well, then I won't watch Morbius. But it's got that supernatural element to it, which I think seems to kind of be that thorough line that they're working, that Sony is doing with this like, I don't know what kind of. It's not a Spider-Verse.
It's almost like they're building a Spider-Man villain universe.
Yes, the villain verse. Right. The villain verse.
Villain verse. With Venom, Morbius, and now Kraven. And then that's the thing, like Joaquin and I were discussing.
And Rhino, because they're definitely introducing him at the end.
Who?
Rhino.
Oh, Rhino. Yeah. But I'm talking about the set movies that are made. So Joaquin and I were discussing this earlier, and I was telling him how, in viewing the trailer, so the tagline for the Kraven movie as of now is villains aren't born, they're made, right? Because we know Kraven to be a villain. And I was telling Joaquin how I love the fact that they're leaning into that, and they're not trying to make him an anti-hero.
Right.
And that's what I wish The Rock would have done with Black Adam. Like none of this anti-hero stuff, none of this trying to make him good guy, even a little bit. Like we know Black Adam to be a villain, right? He will burn the world and everybody in it in the name of protecting Kahndaq, protecting his country that he rules with an iron fist, right? That he's a dictator over. So if I wish, and even in the movie, I'm an anti-hero, but he's like ripping people's arms off,
right?
Killing everybody, right? Killing everybody that comes against them. He's killing, like straight up murking them, right? So just lean into the villain, right? Be the villain that the character is. So I think that for a lot of fans that worked against him, right? As far as Black Adam. So I love the fact that in this Kraven trailer, they are accepting and really leaning into the fact that Kraven's a villain. We made a movie about a villain, and we're leaning all the way because you see the trailer. The trailer is, I would say that the trailer for Kraven is more violent than the first Venom movie.
Yeah.
Right? Like the entire movie, the entire Venom movie is less violent than this Kraven trailer.
Yeah, yo, like I pulled up the poster. Yeah, villains aren't born, they're made. Kraven the Hunter. Like the poster looks dope. The dude looks like, so he is Russian. They just had him grow up in the UK so he doesn't have to fight with the accent. Fight with the Russian accent.
It's like I said, it's like I told you, Anthony said, yeah, they probably didn't want him with the accent because he already tried some accent in the Avengers as quick
The
as
Avengers, yes, before he got killed. So this is dope. Like this looks like in a way, it would kind of be dope to see them have all these villains, but then Venom is an anti-hero, even in his own movies, right? Like that duality of Venom wanting to eat everyone and Brock going like, no, we can't do that, right?
Yeah.
So even if you bring it together and it's just like Venom fighting all of these different monsters, like I would be down for that. I wouldn't have a problem with that. Because I get right, yeah, I know it's Spider-Man and it's still there. All right, we get it. But at the same time, people always complaining that, right? That they never try any, like Marvel has become stale, right? So yeah, so I'd totally be okay with that. So we got that. Then a fun movie we want to shout out because me and Jay are suckers for based on a true story, and then especially based on a true story where it's like a heartwarming, underdog. The underdogs win. A movie. It's out on Hulu and Disney Plus right now. My sister watched it and she was like, "Oh, you need to watch it. It was a cute movie." Flaming Hot, which is supposedly the story of the guy that came up with the Cheetos, like
Flaming
Cheetos, and supposedly it's his story where he supposedly was like a janitor, worked his way up to be VP or AVP, and so.
But I think they gave him the VP job because of the Flaming Hot Cheetos.
Right, like I'm like, really? That's all it takes. Hey, any new ideas? Yes. Put the Flaming Hot on the potato chip. It's a winning idea. I have no idea where that accent's supposed to be, but
random Mexican janitor, we'll take your idea and put chili powder on our cheese on our cheesy treats. Oh, yep. It worked. You're now VP.
You're now VP. That's all I'm saying is, who doesn't love a good like story of the underdog? Me and Jay do.
Who doesn't love a well done story where it's an everyday man, right? An everyday Joe who started from the bottom, right? Let's right. Let's be right. I'm probably get a little bit of hate for saying this, but
Flaming
who doesn't
hot.
hate the story of an everyday Joe like living the American dream?
Right, or in this case, an everyday Jose.
An everyday Pepe, an everyday
Paco.
Right? An everyday Paco living the
American dream.
American dream.
So
we haven't watched it yet. We'll watch it this week, and then we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, so we'll watch it this week. Can't wait. And then last but not least, so last night after I got back on Saturday from my vacation, and then last night I went and watched The Flash with Mia. We went and watched it.
You like it?
Yeah, Mia liked it. I think overall, I enjoyed the freaking movie. Right? It was funny. It had some like good heartfelt moments. I thought. I get the CGI stuff where sometimes it did feel a little wonky, but yeah. I'm gonna go all in on Muschietti's explanation for it, saying that they did it that way to kind of enhance the fact that the the Flash views things differently, so that's why I was like,
yeah, that he views things differently, especially in the Speed Force.
So,
right.
And I know a lot of people like roll their eyes, like OMG, and I get it, I do, but I'm just gonna buy into it because if I buy into it, it's a lot more enjoyable, right?
Well, all I'm saying to that is the people who want to talk that talk, right? Go make your own dang movie.
That's right, suckers.
Go make your own movie and learn how to do the CGI thing.
Detected at front door.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Right? And
So,
do the CGI better, right? Because it's not like it was unbearable like the Superman mouth on
right,
the Justice League, right?
right.
You know, and Muschietti did say that he did it like that on purpose because speed view and viewing things at hyperspeed and how things look he made it so that things look different on inside the Speed Force. And
Yeah,
that's the director. I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah, I'm buying in.
For me, it didn't take anything away from how great the movie is. Right?
Now the bird, I thought the bird was moving. So I thought the movie was great. Had some humor. I didn't even mind the humor they used with Batman. So we're going full spoilers. We're going to talk about everything we like.
Full spoiler. There's your
So
warning.
if you ain't watched it, that doesn't matter. We're talking about it.
Before you get into the humor with Batman, I would just like to say first about Batman. Seeing Batfleck in the Flash hurt my feelings.
Why is that?
Hurt my feelings as a Batfleck fan because he was so amazing in like the 10 to 15 minutes that he was in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like my feelings are hurt that we will never, ever see a full Batfleck movie.
Yo, his scene was bananas on the Bat bike. Then when he launched the grappling thing on the car and he pulled himself through and he's bouncing on the streets and he's flying and I mean he gets to the car and I mean it was, and then he's like, Barry, get here, you know, like that was crazy, man. Like his scene was, yes, it was like, holy cow.
Has there ever been a more natural and fluid Batman?
No, never, ever. Other than like the animated ones, but that they don't count. No, it was. I mean, that whole Batman scene was just fantastic, and then the way it ends with Wonder Woman showing up and saving him.
Tell me you weren't surprised when Wonder Woman showed up.
I was surprised. I was like, wait, when I saw the lasso, grab him and pull him up. She's like, you're welcome, and then she flew away, which I thought was freaking fantastic.
So that I have mixed feelings about that. I know it's only because Wonder Woman 84 sucked so hard, right? It was so bad. So remember, Wonder Woman flew for the first time in Wonder Woman 84.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She started with riding the lightning, which was super cool, and then she flew. But the movie in itself was so amazingly bad, right? That the fact that she flies in the Flash makes 84 automatically canon. I was like, can we just forget about that movie?
No, can't forget about it. Can't forget about it.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw the lasso appear and wrap around their hands, I was so freaking shocked because I only expected Wonder Woman to be like in Shazam,
Right.
Just 5 minutes, at 5 minutes tops, right? But yeah, I was even Magda, because I went with Magda. And she loved it too. She thought we left the theater with her saying that she thought the movie was amazing or is amazing, right? So that
so that was the thing.
Non-fan of superhero movies.
Yeah, so that was the thing. I just thought it was funny, like with the lasso of truth still on him, and Batman's like, yeah, I wear a suit. Where is it? I wear the costume to hide whatever. And then he's like, I could just use my money to like stop people being poor.
He He said, "I am too." What he said? He said, I am too proud to thank anyone for helping me." Right? But see, so this is the difference between, because if anybody remembers, I had a problem with the stupid joke in the Justice League movie with Batman, right? And it's because it was forced. It was fake. It didn't feel natural, and it was forced. Right? When he tells Superman, "I don't not like you," like it was so. Yeah. I can't get that out of my mind. Right?
Yeah.
And this one, it wasn't him being funny to be funny. Right? He had the lasso of truth around him, and he was just blurting out things that vulnerabilities that he wouldn't normally say.
Right. So it was freaking hilarious.
And that's what made it funny. Right? That's what made it funny. It's not that he was trying to be a comedian all of a sudden. Right? He was just being vulnerable. And you don't expect that from Batman.
Yeah, so that was great. The scene of the Flash rescuing the babies was great. And that dog was hilarious. Even at the end, even all at the end of the movie when they were doing the credit scenes, the dog is going down. That was beautiful. But yeah, that whole scene was great. Like the fact that Barry was like, "I'm running out of juice, right? I'm hungry," so he goes and eats before he rescues everybody.
Made it so much more real to the comic books, right? The fact that he had the meter, right? The fact they had the meter in his suit, and he was checking because his metabolism, right, eats away at itself if he's not, and eats away at the Speed Force. Something that that Anthony noticed that I didn't was how outside of the suit, his lightning is regular lightning, this blue lightning. And
in the suit is yellow.
In the suit, it turns yellow because of the Speed Force going through the suit, right? So, but you ready?
What's up?
So the secret ending, that's not so secret anymore because the movie already came out, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That shows that he is still not in his universe. Right? Shows
so let's kind of bounce real quick through. Let's just kind of hit some highlights. Just let's not dwell on them. Let's just kind of hit the highlights. Okay. So number one, the baby rescue scene, fantastic. The conversation with Bruce, fantastic. Where Bruce is like, "Don't do it. You're gonna end up."
Right.
Everything. And the piece of advice that Bruce gave him, right? It was like beautiful because that's the core of what he ends up learning anyway, right? Through both Bruce Waynes. That the pain is what makes
both Bruce Waynes, but from different perspectives, right?
Right.
Because the Keaton Bruce Wayne stopped being Batman because he succeeded.
Right.
Right. He succeeded. Right. Because as he said, like Gotham is one of the safest places in the world. So he succeeded. So that's why there was no need for him to be Batman anymore.
Right.
But he still, just like Batfleck, he was still lonely. He was still by himself.
Right. He was still harboring because he was still consumed by the pain. Right. Which is really a great message. Right. It's what you do with that pain that you encounter in life. What you do with it. Do you let it consume you? Or do you fill your life with others so that you can move forward? I mean, that preaches. We can get to that later, like some other day. But
there are a few moments in the movie that preach.
Yeah. So I thought it was fantastic. Dude, when I thought the introduction to what's his name? Keaton's Batman I loved it. In the kitchen, when they run into him in the kitchen, and he's like whooping up on original Barry, and Goofy Barry, kept dodging all the.
And young Barry
kept dodging.
Did you notice that young Barry dodging all the things was the same thing as original Barry dodging everything in Zack Snyder's Justice League?
Yes, when he met Bruce Wayne the first time. Yeah.
When he met Bruce Wayne for the first time? Dude.
Yeah, that was fantastic. So that was
I didn't catch that the first time I watched it, but I caught it.
No, I caught it when he threw the pan skillet. Yeah. And he went to the side and he like looked at it.
He did the same look.
Yeah.
He did the same look.
That was great.
and then he moved to the side, and then he caught it. Right? He turned around, he caught it, but instead of using it, he blocked his face from the next hit.
Yeah, so that was great. I thought that was great. I thought the introduction, like when seeing 1989 Batman whoop up on some bad guys, was great because that's not something we got to see in '89 because that was just the technology wasn't there for it. Right. That was great. The introduction, like
you know what I loved about seeing Keaton in the bat suit again? Now that they did not make the suit fluid and movable. Right? He was still stiff Batman.
Little stiff, yeah.
Right?
Did you notice?
He was going.
Did you notice he had a gray and blue suit?
The blue and gray suit, yes. I squealed a little when I saw it.
Me too. I pointed at the screen. I was like, "Oh, the gray and blue suit." Mia looked at me like, "Shut up."
I did the same thing, and I was with, but at least you were with Mia. When I saw it the first time, remember I was by myself because Magda K was up in Georgia.
Right.
And no lie, I wasn't gonna go. Right, I wasn't gonna go because I don't like going to the movies by myself. I wasn't gonna go, and I randomly got a phone call from RG up in Georgia. Told me he was praying for me, and he decided and I was on his heart, and he reached out, and we had this whole conversation where he actually ministered to me. So props to RG, and listen, people who don't think that he's really who he says he is. So because he went from stepping into ministry, right? Because normally it's me doing these things, right? And he flipped it around, and it's good because I needed it. But like he said something to me, right? That motivated me to go and watch the movie by myself, right?
Okay.
Just go, right? So I went, and I don't, and I thanked him afterwards. I love the fact that I went, but I was surrounded by strangers. Right? I was right because I had nobody just strangers. I had nobody to bounce things off of. And bro, when they showed it, and I saw the blue and gray suit. So luckily for me, there was another guy two seats down that we connected, right? Because he was also like a big DC nerd. So when they showed the blue suit, I was like, right? I'm pointing at the screen too, right? The person right next to me was a little bit annoyed, right? But the person next to him was the guy, and he was like, "Yeah, I know, right? I know." I was like, "Yes,
nice,
yes, that's my hard energy."
So the intro to Batman was dope. The rescuing of Supergirl, I thought was great. Even how, you know what, I liked it, and
you were a bit skeptical about Supergirl.
I was, because they've been so like, I was ham-fisted about like putting things in that don't really fit. But I like their explanation, right? So we're in a different Earth, right? We're in a different. I love the way they explain time travel.
The spaghetti verse.
With the spaghetti verse thing, right? I mean, it was fantastic because it makes sense, right? Much more than what Marvel did with their time traveling in the Avengers. But the thing is that, so then you're like, okay, yeah. So she's like, yo, they sent my cousin Cal. I was supposed to come to protect him. So now I'm like, okay, this is why we know she can fight. She can fight, and because she's been trained. She's older than Cal, right? Cal was the baby. She's older, so she's been trained to fight because she's was sent to protect, right, baby Kal-El. So it made perfect sense. I thought she was great. I thought she was great. The fact I loved her little arc, the little arc they gave her to kind of bring her around, where she was like, first thing they did was lock me up, like, forget you,
bro, yo, and she bounced. I love that. That made 100% sense for the movie.
Yes.
Right? Oh, young Barry's trying to convince her to save the world, to save humanity. It's like, yeah, you guys are nice. You guys are good. first thing they did was lock me up and like.
Even though I did like the fact that Young Barry was like wrestlers, like they're great or whatever.
Yeah, I bet Joel loved that too.
Joel, that was Joel's favorite. No, and then the fact
that he bounced.
Right, and then when she saw what Zod did, then when she comes back and she says, "Why did you take me out?" And it was like,
when you saw I wasn't Cal, why did you still save me?
Yeah, right? That was fantastic.
Yeah,
that
it was so great.
So
I told you there are a lot of things.
Yeah, so all that, so all that was great, right? The him getting his powers back, them fighting them, and then the fact that what was chasing. I love the fact that young Barry was. I like the fact that I thought was interesting was how they, right there at the end, right? Zod keeps winning. Young Barry learns how to go back in time, and he keeps trying to save it. Trying to save it. And Barry, Barry was like, "There's nothing we can do," right? And young Barry, you see young Barry as the villain, right? He's like the villain, and then
he's an anti-hero,
right? But then you realize
because he's driven by wanting to save these people because he doesn't want anybody else to.
And then you see that he's the villain, right? He becomes the Dark Flash, whatever. Dark Flash, yeah. Right. Dark Flash. And then I didn't realize, but I read that was Vin Diesel.
You're gonna ruin the movie for me.
I'm gonna have to look that up. Somebody said it could be Vin Diesel. Somebody said, well, it kind of makes sense because it's all about family.
It's all about family.
But like when he said, like, "You're my hero, Flash," like, "You're my hero," was like, wow, like this, the way it all kind of came back together. And then yes,
but if you notice, they after he hears that his mother died, right, by mistake. Right, like it's not that he was told. He overhears him, regular Barry telling 89 Batman, right? All of a sudden, he goes from being this goofy 18-year-old kid to then being scared and concerned, right? Because remember when regular Barry first got struck by lightning, right, to restore his powers. Before then, he was trying to convince him to not do it. Like, don't do it. Oh, it's gonna be like he was like scared that he might die. When he got struck by the first time, scared that he was gonna die, right? So that's when they showed like this fear and this concern of protecting, right? Because he knew his mom was gonna die, Barry, and then he saw Supergirl die, Batman die. So that was his thing. That was his driving force. Nobody dies, right? Nobody dies. Yeah. We can say, It was
kind of heartbreaking when Barry's like, "You gotta let her die," right? It was like, "You gotta let mom die." It was like, wow, that was pretty rough. And then the movie, the scene where he runs into his mom, I was a little weird for me. I'd have to watch it again because it's like his mom knows it's him, right?
No, because that is the scene when he was a kid, right? So he went back to when he was a kid to the day that she died.
Okay, it was that far back.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
He came back
to put. That's what I meant.
Back out. That was back to the day that she died. Remember, because she sent the husband to the store to
buy the pasta. Yeah. Even though, like, that makes sense. That's right. I missed that. I know, but she knew that was her son. It was weird.
Yeah,
it was like
it's like right? Mother's,
right. It was like thing. Now I love the fact that he ended up putting the pasta or the tomato sauce on the top shelf.
And that's the butterfly effect that caused the new Batman.
The new old Batman. Well, I'm gonna tell you something, bro.
Yo, let me tell you. Wait. Let's go back to the mom. So there's one thing that I need to find out. I want to know why they didn't use the original Rubén Blades version of Pedro Navaja. That's just me as a stickler because this is my favorite salsa song. That's the song that I heard as a little kid that made me fall in love with the music, with the genre of salsa. Right? So I'm not complaining about the cover. The track that they used, it was a dope sounding cover, but man, it would have been great to hear like the
probably because that cover was slow and the original is not that slow. So you had
probably now knowing what I know and reading these contracts and knowing about licensing and syncing, it probably costs a crap load of money.
That too.
To put in the movie.
Yeah, that too. But I think the song might be a little too. It would have been too fast to for necessarily for the scene. But
for the scene, yeah, you're right.
But the thing is though, so his dad gets freed, and we see the Bruce Wayne's car. We see him step out of the car. I freaked out when I saw it was Clooney. I freaked out when George Clooney stepped out and it was like Bruce, and I was like, no, I went, what?
So check this out. So the first passes I got were for the very first week of screening. And according to Anthony and to JR, who went, because I had to be in California, there was no ending. The movie ended when the car rolled up.
Right. And I heard somebody's early review and they said the exact same thing.
Right. So when the car rolled up and you only heard them on the phone. All right, I'm here. And that's it. When the car rolled, then they ended it because they didn't want the ending to be spoiled. So when I finally went to see the screen that I went to see, it was with the ending. Right. So I was like I freaked out too. I screamed, but I cracked up. I died. I was laughing so hard when I saw Clooney step out of that car. It was so funny because it took me back to Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze. Like, no, right? But anyway.
No, I'm sorry, man. He looked good. Like stepping out, like he looked the part.
He looked like Bruce Wayne.
He looked.
I didn't have a problem with Clooney's Batman. I had a problem with
Schumacher.
The story, with the script,
Schumacher, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and even then, that movie as a side note, Schumacher, but I believe that one Schumacher had a much darker story, but the studio stepped in. They wanted to sell toys, so they told him, you need to make it.
The toys always mess everything up,
right? You need to make it blah blah blah, and so Clooney, I killed Batman, but it was like, nah, really, the movie wasn't terrible because of your Batman, right? It was terrible because of the director and the studio involvement. Listen, I would be all in with a Clooney. Clooney's a good actor, so I'd be all in if you said, boom, it's reset. Hey, this is the new Batman, right? We're gonna do something weird with it. This is gonna be Batman for Brave and the Bold. I would be okay with it because he's a good actor. You put a stunt double in the suit, the fight scenes can be amazing, but he can be Bruce Wayne. Right? He's played those type of characters. I would be all in.
I agree. But it was dope.
But it was so dope. It was almost like it was great because it was like he was redeemed.
Yes.
Like to me, like for me, it was like, it's so great seeing him because now let's stop there. And this is where we're going to end. When the multiverse was collapsing and they were showing the different Earths, what was of all the Earths,
you already know,
which is the one that made you go, yee! Like, you got excited. Which one?
Dude, you already know.
No, I don't know. Which one?
Christopher Reeve standing alongside Helen Slater.
Yes. For me too.
My Superman, right? Because that's my Superman. Yes, I'm a big fan of Cavill's Superman, but that's like Sebastian Superman, right? Christopher Reeve Superman is the original Superman. Yes, I remember George Reeves, and I watched those on the reruns.
Yeah.
But that was my mom's Superman, right? That was
Right.
my mom's Superman. But it was like Christopher Reeve was my Superman. And then I remember Supergirl when it came out, and how Christopher Reeve didn't want to be in the movie. Right? So Christopher Reeve did not want to be in the movie. So he didn't want, because they were trying to get Superman, that Superman, and that Supergirl together in the Supergirl movie. And Christopher Reeve didn't want it. So they had to only show the poster of him. Right? Oh, that's my cousin. Right? And all that stuff. But to see them in the same scene together, yo, I lost it.
Yeah, that was so dope. That was so dope. The Nicolas Cage Superman was fantastic just because of the movie that was never made. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
It was fun.
The original Flash, right?
Right.
First Flash.
Yeah.
I don't know who
the
the person was that was playing it. If it was CGI, if it was actually somebody.
That was cool. That was cool. That was a cool nod to the original Flash. Yeah. So, all right, man. So anyway, we enjoyed the movie. Needless to say, and excited for. I'm a little more excited now for Blue Beetle than I was before. After hearing James Gunn say that basically Blue Beetle is the soft reboot of the new DCU. But he's basically said Blue Beetle's in the DCU.
Blue Beetle's in the DCU. Right.
Now,
which is something that you and I mentioned a couple times that we weren't sure.
Right.
Because there's been no connection or no talk of the Blue Beetle and the DCU together, right? And James Gunn was like, "Oh yeah, I saw the movie, it was great," but he didn't say, it's a part of the new universe until recently that he just said, yes, Blue Beetle is in the DCU. So that's basically it's so funny because now I'm using church planting language. That's basically like the soft launch movie for the new DCU, and then officially it'll be in 2025.
Superman, Legacy will be the official launch, which is dope. And then the last thing, and then we're gonna go on to the next thing is, I loved. I think I sent this to Jay. I did send it to you. I love the fact that Gunn said that they weren't just gonna. It wasn't just gonna be about the superheroes in the DCU, but it was also gonna be about the alter egos, right? The secret identities, which is great because Marvel just kind of like, oh, everybody knows who everybody is.
Yeah, I saw that interview, and he said that as like a pivotal point and the pivotal difference between DC and Marvel, right? That he really wants to lean into, because it's like DC is all about the alter egos, the secret identities, and how this guy is Superman, right? But then he's also Clark Kent, right? And the two don't collide, right? Batman is Bruce Wayne, right? And he's also Batman, and the two don't collide. So we have to develop stories for Clark Kent and for Superman, right? For Batman and for Bruce Wayne. And I think he's 100% right, because I'm not gonna lie, the first Iron Man was great, but I thought him telling everybody, "I am Iron Man," I thought that was crap.
Right.
I thought that was kind of crap. Right. And then everybody, like, there's no secret identities, right? Everybody knows who everybody is. You can attack everybody's family, kill everybody's family, except for Spider-Man. They kept it with Spider-Man, right?
But even then.
Yeah,
But even then, with Spider-Man, if you paid attention, you knew who his aunt was. All right, paid attention. You're like, wait a minute.
That's
wait
true.
a minute. Wait a minute.
But
why is Tony Stark's right-hand man always visiting that lady? Right, Wes?
Some random lady from Queens.
Why is he always visiting? Peter's aunt. Something strange. But anyway, yeah. So that was dope. So yeah. So we're excited. Just whatever.
If you can tell, we love the movie.
Yeah. So this means that when they release all four together, I'll be buying it. Then I get yelled at. When they release Man of Steel, BVS, Wonder Woman. We're gonna push out
So
80.
remember,
No.
it's gotta be
No, it's gotta be.
ultimate. It's gotta be Zack Snyder. Zack
Yep.
Snyder's Justice League.
Yep. So
Yo, do you
we
think
got
they'll bring Supergirl back?
no. I don't think they will.
Why not?
Because he said they're starting completely fresh. I mean, I don't think they will, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do. But I don't
because this is the whole new universe, right? So,
right. So I think I think that's why they wouldn't bring. Now, if they brought her back, I hope that she got long hair because I didn't really short hair. I didn't really count. I wasn't real feeling.
It didn't bother me.
It bothered me. I was like, she needs long hair. Come on, man.
It didn't bother me. In the comic book, she had short hair for a time, long hair for a time. Like it didn't bother me.
So, but I don't think
nerds. I think the dark hair bothered the nerds more.
Why? I don't think they'll bring her back. I don't think they'll bring her back. I think they're gonna keep it. Pretty much everyone's gone, except for the Flash, because he's so pivotal in the whole reboot aspect.
Well, he's pivotal in the whole DC universe. But I would be okay if they brought him back, right? Because this is the thing. So he did all that, right? Reset the universe, got his father out, whatever. But like, we still don't know who killed his mom. I mean, according comic book nerds know who killed his mom, right?
Yeah.
But then there's still the mystery of, okay, so then who killed mom, right? And then it's a whole new universe, right? So
yeah. So I think with the keeping everyone out, I think, or with just replacing everyone, I that's the only reason I don't think they would bring her back, right? But quién sabe, right? Who knows? They're gonna do what they're gonna do.
Because there is a Supergirl movie,
right? So
they're gonna make.
So potentially
in the slate that's slated to come out. So
who knows? I mean, she could age out by that time because they're gonna want somebody young. I mean, I know that girl. I know she's not that old. I don't think. I think she's in her mid-20s probably.
She's not that old, but then she's also Latina. So there's that thing with Latinos where we can look super young or stay looking young, or we can look super old.
Oh no, yeah, because she's 27.
Oh yeah, she can probably still do it.
So we're talking about another 5 years. That would put her like 30 something. Maybe not.
Well, depending on if she looks older or she still looks young.
Yeah.
Right. They look for a younger Superman, but like the people that they're auditioning now in the full suit now in Atlanta, they're like in their 30s.
So who knows? But all right, man. So let's bookend it with
my trip. So
with your trip.
I went to. Sorry, I had a pillow behind me on this chair, and it is not comfortable. I went to California, to LA, for the. I'm sorry, I'm trying to push this camera back. I went to California for a week because of convention. So we're church planting with the Foursquare Church, right? International Church of the Foursquare Gospel. Hey, look, I got it right. And it was convention, but also the 100-year celebration of the organization, right? So we went. It was done back where the whole thing started, which was basically Hollywood. But I gotta tell you something that I did not tell you. We should probably get him on the podcast. But it was yo. So let me be completely transparent. I was beefing with the organization.
Right.
You know that, but I'm being transparent with our listeners and followers. I was beefing with the organization because I didn't feel that they were communicating or covering us as well as they should, right? So I was beefing. I was upset. I was bothered. And then I got even more upset, even more bothered, thinking about the treatment. Like if we're treated like this and we're already older, we're seasoned, we're 2 years in, 2 years in the whole cohort and preparation, and 7 to 8 months in, moving down to Florida to do this plant, then my mind starts thinking about the new people who are coming into this and starting the plant maybe next year or whatever. And like, you need to do better. And you need to do better so that future planters, future people don't get what you gave us, right? So then I become a hero for the whatever, the strangers. So I went. Right? It took me a long time. Like, I'm not gonna go. And then our pastors in Atlanta told me, got on the phone, said, do you think you should go? I said, yeah, I don't want to go. I don't feel connected to these people. I don't feel covered. I'm very hurt. I'm very upset. And then one of the pastors told me, well, Jay, you can go to a convention where they all are, and you could probably have meetings and meet with these people over coffee, over lunch, whatever, and tell them how you feel and what they're doing. Or you can stay in Florida and stay hurt and not talk to anybody, but stay angry and bothered because you don't see any change, right? And I'm like,
called you out,
right? So like, I'm like, in Spanish we say, no te quejas y no te quejas, right? And then I was like, all right, bet, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. And I went, talked it over with the Magda and the refugees, and they all agreed. Like, well, not Magda. Magda still was like, yeah, I don't think you should go to start that fight, because she wasn't coming with me. And she normally, she normally runs defense, right?
Right.
Defense for me. She wasn't coming, so I had nobody to run defense. So I was just gonna come in, guns blazing. Right? The refugees agreed and thought it was a good idea. So I'm there. Yo, I flew in Monday. It's so weird how time works. I left here at 7. I got to California at 10:30.
Yeah.
Right?
So confusing.
It's so confusing. I left California at 12. I got here at midnight. It's like, wait, what? Anyway, so I went Monday morning. I'm good. Get to the hotel, right? I'm all set. I walk around. I get a coffee. There's a Starbucks in the lobby, right? I get something to eat, and I'm just looking around. So I got there before the Atlanta church did. So I'm like, all right, I got time. I can do this. They don't know who I'm connected to, and nobody's gonna get mad or go to Phil and like, hey, your guy Jay, like, just go. And nothing. I didn't see nobody. And then I get to the night session, the first session of the night. And so I connected with the Atlanta team, and we're all good. So I get to the night session, and then, we're gonna be here, right? We're gonna be here so we can all sit together. Bro, I did not see them. It was so weird. I am right where they said they were gonna be. I'm looking at the picture that they sent me, right? I'm like this, they're right there. Like, I don't see anybody. And so I went and I sat by myself. Yo, ¿pa qué fue eso, mano? I sit by myself and I'm still pissed. And then I start seeing the people that I need to talk to, right? So I'm like, all right, I got you. As soon as this is over, I'm just going to make a beeline. Bro, the woman starts preaching or starts setting up the week, right? I think the vice president starts setting up the week. And I'm like, yo, I don't want to hear nothing you got to say, right? In my mind, I don't want to hear anything you got to say because I'm upset and I'm not going to receive anything. And real fast, but real soft. You know how God speaks to Elijah in the breeze, right? So that still small voice that tells me, why are you depending on them so much? I called you. and I sent you to Florida, right? And I was like, yeah, but you know, but they. It's like, no, depend on me. I called you, right? Right away. The floodgates, right? All of my allergies hit me at once.
Right. Got Dusty in there. Like,
And
man,
super dusty in the
why
arena.
they didn't dust before this thing? Like,
Right?
that's
Super
not.
dusty in the arena. And I sat there in that seat and I repented real fast. I repented. I was like, all right, Lord, forgive me. You're right. I'm sorry. Right. And all of a sudden the scales dropped from my eyes.
Right.
Because I turn around and I see my pastor. Right where he said he was gonna be, right where I was looking before. All of a sudden I see him and he's like, and I'm like, oh, yeah, all right, on my way. Right at the same spot. I'm with my phone, like looking at the picture, looking at the area, and I don't see them. After that happens, I look and and when I get there, he's like, I've been trying to get your attention for like 30 minutes.
Wow, yo, the Lord spiritually spit in your eyes so you can see.
Like, yo, I didn't see you. And then
wow.
He's sitting behind me and he comes to me. He's like, are you okay? Like, everything all right? And I told him what happened, and he just like, wow. Like, I wanted you to come so you can have those conversations, right? So now I'm convicted, right? But I'm glad you're here because I really felt that you needed to come here. Dude, change everything about my week. So I actually went and I enjoyed myself, right? I actually received from the teachers and the speakers. I actually connected with new people that I've never, don't know, whatever. Because remember, I'm new to Foursquare. Connected with people. You know what I found out? I've been dying to tell you that the creator of Samurai Jack,
okay,
whatever, is an unapologetic Bible-believing Christian.
Wow. Samurai. I'll come to watch Samurai Jack now.
Right? Like So I'm like, and everybody like talking to me and encouraging me in the Florida. People randomly, when they find out who I am, what's going on, coming to me and praying over me and prophesying over me and all these things. And I'm like, and this was without, right? This is funny because all this was done without my guy being there to run defense, without the team being there and being like the face, because they all smile and super friendly, right? All of a sudden I'm smiling, I'm being friendly, I'm enjoying, I'm connecting, and my week was great. Like, my week was great. Like, I had a great time there, and now, like, I want to go to these events and go to these things, and I came back with that in my mind, like, depend on God, because He called me, He sent me, right? And now, so I've been trying to do things the Foursquare way, right? The safe by the book way. And now I'm like, and so we were supposed to have our first weekly get together, right? Just for not service, but just to get together with people that have been coming to the worship nights to build rhythms and culture and whatever. And nobody showed up. So no, nobody showed up. I did all the steps, the Foursquare steps. Nobody showed up. But, Quinito, I didn't feel bad.
Right.
It didn't affect me. I wasn't discouraged. I didn't get sad. I was like, bet. Awesome. Nobody came. Now I'm flipping the script, and now I'm gonna do things the way I do things. Right? I'm still gonna honor God and not do things to embarrass God or Foursquare as an organization that's covering us, but I'm gonna do things my way. I'm gonna do things the way I know how.
Right.
Worship nights, the events, the crazy outreaches in the parks and whatever, like we do.
Yeah, you take their principles, which are good principles,
mm-hmm.
right? And then you massage them to fit, how you massage them so that your vision and those principles connect in a way that's going to draw, it's going to plant seeds and bring fruit. And that's all it is. But you know what? But you know what's
right?
Was
I
that
personalize them.
right? Personalize it, right?
Personalize them, right? Just bring them and portray them to sound like them, but to look like me. Right. And how we do things. So we met the next day. After that, we went to the pier and we hung around and we talked and whatever, planning. And I was like, listen, this is what we're gonna do. Right? This is your idea. We're gonna buy some coolers. I'm gonna design a sign. We're gonna buy a sandwich board, right? Design a sign, legacy.
My idea.
Hold on. I'm gonna get to it. We're gonna design a sign, legacy on one side, a call to action, like, do you want prayer? Do you want, right? And we're gonna buy 2 coolers, and we're just gonna fill those coolers with water, right? Because it's already getting hot down here.
Yep.
We're gonna fill those coolers with water. We have somebody built some cornholes, the cornhole games, like legacy specific cornhole games, and they gifted them to us, right? They had nothing to do with us. He built them. He wrote legacy, painted a tree on them, right? And because we're legacy, he went and he gifted them to us, right? So we're gonna bring cornhole. We're gonna go to a park, have the cornhole games, have the sign up, have the coolers of water, have legacy on one side. If you need prayer, we're here to pray for you. If you want water, free water, right? Give out water. And if they want prayer, we pray for them. And if they want to connect with us, they connect with us. And if they don't want prayer, they just want water, they just get water, right? This is whatever it is, right? We're gonna have a
Give it back to me.
Right? Bluetooth speaker up there to have the music playing, and just do like crazy non-typical church things, because that's who I am. That's what we do.
Right.
That's it, right? I have an event planned for October to commemorate a year of being here.
Right.
I already talked to a few people, a few artists, and a few speakers to come down, and they're all in. They're 100%, and no one has told me no. No one has told me no. Right? They told me, give me the date. Give me the date. That sounds amazing, Jay. Give me the date, and I'm there. Right? So it's like, all right, you see, now for me, things are flowing, because I didn't box myself in by trying to be who I'm not. Right? But trying to sound like somebody else or look like somebody else.
That's not it. I know what it is.
What is it?
That's not it.
What it is?
No, you're saying about the water. So that's right, because when we had talked about like taking over Rehoboth in New York, that was the thing I said. I was like, dude, we just walk around the neighborhood, give water to people waiting on the bus stop, saying, hey, can we pray for you? And then let people see that this church is like got something going on. And then where you're at, I mean, with the refugees being big basketball people, and you got those basketball courts right there, you get the speaker, you put some like, the Christian hip hop, reggaeton stuff on, you start pick up game. You start pick up basketball games, and then hey guys, here's some water. Yeah, like it's built in. It's built in. But here's the thing.
Michael and I talked about that too.
Here's the thing.
Like, let's make it happen. And he's a coach, so let's make it
happen.
Yeah.
So I mean, you just start with pick up basketball games. Mm-hmm. Just run and pick up basketball. Listen, like, remember, I don't know if you remember, I used to do that open gym, and my dad's church. Yeah. And it grew from like 5 kids to like, we were averaging about 60 kids sometimes. And all we did was play basketball. I played Christian music. Halfway through the night, we would stop. I would share a 5-minute Devo. We'd pray, because we had these little old ladies that would make food for the kids to eat. They would all be quiet. They would boom, boom, boom. And then, we just kept it moving. But here's the thing. It's funny. Something stuck out to me. And I know you're going to agree, because I know you thought the same thing, but it's a good thing that Magda didn't go with you. That was the best thing that could have happened to you. That was a God thing, because Magda, you said, runs defense. Mm-hmm. And Magda is running defense for you, then that means that you're in a defense, you're in that defensive posture, and you're not there. You would never have, You would have seen them because Magda's not the one that had the blinders on. So Magda would have been, oh, there they are. You would have gone to them, right? And you would have tried to do.
He would have started the conversation, and then I would have just come in. Oh yeah, you know what? Right? So yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. So it's amazing. It's it's like So the fact that Magda wasn't there, that was the catalyst for you to be able to have like those scales, as it were, those spiritual scales, that spiritual wall, right, to come down. Because if that doesn't come down, what I was thinking as you're saying that, see what you would have come back, you would have been discouraged.
I would have stayed in the same.
Right, you would have been in the same
stagnant.
You would have been in the exact same spot, and then anything that you did from there. So even if you did the exact same thing you're about to do, it was not going to be fruitful because
it would have been from that position.
Because it would have been planted out of an infertile heart, not a fertile heart.
Yeah. So yesterday for Father's Day, we were in Sarasota. Father's Day, whatever, and then like they asked me, oh, well, nobody showed up. How are you feeling? And I was like, I feel great.
Your team was there, right?
Right? It was like, I feel great. And they were like, really? I was like, yeah, I know nobody came, whatever. But I was like, but already the Saturday before, I was already having these conversations with God about doing things different and changing it up. And then that just cemented the fact that yes, all right, we're gonna shut down this chapter, right? And it'll be a part of our story, and right, we'll talk about it, we'll laugh about it years from now, right? And we're gonna start this new chapter, but now it's gonna look more like us,
right? And
now
I think
it's gonna sound more like us.
Yeah, and I think now people,
and the people are gonna think that we're kind of crazy. Like, what are you doing? Like, we doing what we do.
Yeah, and I think the thing is that so nobody had to show up. So that was the test. That was the test that you came back with a renewed heart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because if that had happened and you had been discouraged, in a way that means you would have taken those bricks and you would have started placing them back up. Right? You would have started going, oh, you see, this is what happens. See, that's what happens for me when I start feeling good about stuff. Oh yeah, okay, God, I hear you. And you just kind of start, right? You kind of start laying those bricks back.
Ah, man, it was so crazy.
Yeah.
Even I noticed it, because when we got home, my dad asked me, "Huh, are you okay? Like nobody came." I was like, yeah, I'm great.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know that normally I would have gotten depressed. Give me a day, but I was like, no, I don't need a date. We need to run. Like I know what we need to do now. I know how we need to do it. We need to be more us. We're gonna do it like this and this and this and this and that, right? And then they all agreed, right? Everybody agreed. We need to stop doing the worship nights and the stuff in our house, right? Because we don't have the same comfort here because we don't know anybody, we don't know anything that we did in Georgia. So in Georgia, when we did the worship nights in the house, I will put our address on. Because it was a comfort. 20 years, people know us, we're connected, like it's whatever, right? Our neighbors knew us. Here, I don't put the address to our house because I don't know nobody. Some crazy people show up, and then you're gonna see me in the news because pastor opens his house for worship night, and some people came to do things, and he shot him.
Right, something. He got shot. Everybody got shot.
Or food shot him because remember, my high school best friend who's like 8 minutes away, like. He's a cop, right? So it's like, right, but they didn't know that there would be cops there worshiping Jesus, and they got
right.
Right, so like, so I don't do it, and it's always DM for details. Nobody's gonna DM me if they don't know me, right? So we're gonna
because they're thinking the same thing. I don't know these people. Like, why would I ask them to go to their house? I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Weird stranger's house. Because they're thinking I'm gonna end up on the news. Dude ended up with a secret basement. He locked me up like, Silence of the Lambs. So you found a spot. So you got a spot you're gonna be able to use, or
I'm gonna take a look at it. I'll send it to you now. I'm gonna take a look at it, and it's once a month, so we're gonna start using that.
Right.
Start using that. Right. I just sent it to you. You'll take a look at it. You'll see how great it looks for what we need.
Right.
And it's not that expensive, so even better. And we're just gonna do that. We're gonna do that. And on weekends, we're gonna be in the parks, in the playgrounds. We're gonna do the pickup basketball idea because Michael had that idea too, right? We're gonna do the coolers with the water bottles, right? Designing a sign, come and get some prayer, right? Have the kids there. Bring out the cornhole, cornhole tournaments, right? I'm gonna go to the college with Anthony, a guitar, and like 10 pizzas. And we're gonna sit on campus playing guitar with the sign and 10 pizzas and feed these college students, because it's college students, free food.
Yeah, reach out to find out, find the whatever Christian organization might be on campus. Introduce yourself. Hey, what's up? And just introduce yourself. Let it whatever flows from there.
Mm-hmm.
Flows from there. Right? Yeah, no, that's the thing. That's the you got to figure out your you just got to figure out your flow, and that's dope. But I think that's super exciting though that you went, and it's crazy that you didn't see them. You were right there. You didn't see them,
dude. It was wild
until you broke, until that was broken.
It was completely crazy to me.
Yeah.
Completely, because then, and like if you would have seen where I was to where they were, it was like, how did you not see them? They could have thrown something at me.
Right.
They could have thrown something at me. How did I not see them? And the fact that like they were trying to get my attention, but I still didn't see them. It was completely nuts.
Yeah,
right?
hilarious.
So, and then I also was able to go to Fearless LA and connect with Jeremy Johnson, the pastor of Fearless, and see my crazy idea, see an aspect of my crazy idea and what I want to do here in Florida actually working already, right? Out there now, right? So I'm like, okay, this is kind of what I want to do. Right? What we want to do is a little heavier, a little more out there, but this is kind of like what I want to do down here. Right? So, and it's working. And we talked about it, and he told me a few things, right? And gave me some advice, and it's working, right? So it's kind of dope.
Yeah,
right?
And that's the thing. It's like, it's nice that you see that. Just always remember that you're in Florida.
Yeah.
LA and Florida, right? So you got to kind of let it.
No, 100%. I mean more like just the idea. I mean, the idea that I told you, right, of what I want to do,
right,
with the building and whatever here, right? He's already doing something like that out there in LA. So I'm like, okay. So if I do something like this, so wanting to do something this outlandish is not that outlandish because it's working, right? It's working.
Well, that's the thing. Remember, you're not far from Urban D's church crossover. And listen, I visited them when they were still in the original little building, and they were doing the hip hop, like the room for the DJs and the B-boys and all. And they were going and picking up all the. Like I rode with him in the van as they went to go pick up all the kids for the youth group, that they picked up. And so when we went to Flavor Fest, like for me, as somebody that had visited, right, a bajillion years before, when they were still in the original church building where he started off as a youth pastor, and then seeing where they are now, like, and that's the thing. It's just taking that idea and just, right. It's watering it, planting seeds, watering it, cultivating it, right, and then seeing that trend. Like I said, when we went Flavor Fest, just seeing like the big building and like all the stuff, it was just like, wow. Because I remember when it was a little building that I stopped on my way home when I was visiting down my grandparents in West Palm, and seeing that go from there to there. So it's the same. It's just the same concept. It's just, I think that now you're really, I think you're really ready. I think now you're gonna start seeing some gonna be some little grapes here and there gonna start popping. You know what I'm saying? You have a couple little grapes on the vine, because that's all you need to start with, right? It's just a couple
Yes.
little grapes.
So,
And
so before I'm done, something else happened.
uh-oh.
Two things happened. So there's this CCM artist called Evan Kraft. You probably heard of him.
Yeah, I have heard.
Evan Kraft.
We've talked about him.
We talked about it, right? So apparently he's a Foursquare baby.
Interesting.
Out there in California. And he was there for worship. He led 2 nights of worship. And I was like, yo, Lord, I would love to be able to talk to him and connect with him, but I'm not gonna run up and fangirl over him on stage, whatever, because that's just not me. I don't do that. So the next morning, I'm online for breakfast, trying to get coffee, whatever, and I turn around and homie's right next to me.
Oh, nice.
Right? Homie's right next to me. It's like, oh, hey, what's up? And I'm like, this is wild. Right? So we were able to connect. And then taking an Uber to the airport, I'm gonna send you his profile. I met an actor, like a successful actor, right? Like a guy that's actually working. Well, he's not working now because of
the writer's strike.
Because of the writer's strike. But like he's been in movies, he's in soap opera right now. He's Cubano. He's a Christian.
Okay, he looks familiar.
Right? He's a Cubano, he's a Christian. And we talked with him, like the Atlanta team and I, and we talked with him, we connected with him, we prayed over him, right? Him and his wife and his family, but with him, he was the only one there. And dude, it was like amazing. Right? It was amazing. Like we were able to not just connect with this actor in Hollywood, but this actor in Hollywood who is trying to serve Jesus, right? And trying to lead his family in the ways of the kingdom while working as an actor in Hollywood, right?
Right.
So the wild thing about it is that we've been DMing each other, and then that reminds me. Okay, sorry. And then and he told us like he flies to Alpharetta a lot to do charity stuff to Alpharetta. He flies to Atlanta to go to Alpharetta and do charity stuff. Pero también he followed me on Instagram. I gave him a follow. He followed me back on Instagram. We've been talking, but now all these other actors have been following me, and I'm like, oh, who's this? Oh, I don't know you. Oh, okay, you're connected to Jordy. Oh, that's an actor too.
Right.
Okay, Jesus, I see you. I mean, and they're all, but it's not like just random actors. There are actors that are also believers, right? Actors or actresses that are also believers that are connected to Jordy.
So basically, Jay's trying to start the Tampa, the St. Pete, Hillsong, New York branch. All the actors will come. Just without the scandal.
To use the words of my mother, que señor reprenda el diablo. Que señor reprenda el diablo. No, I'm just talking about, right? So I say all that not to flex on this whole actor thing, but to show that I went in there with an idea to fight, to argue and upset, right? And day one, I'm not even gonna say confronted, because again, it was that still small voice that God used. It was comforting, and the conviction. Right? It's fun, right? So it was conviction, but comforting in a way that I can only imagine Jesus did with the woman at the well, right? Because we tend to forget that part of the story, right? That he pulled her card, right, in a loving and comforting fashion that made her repent and made her go back home and evangelize to everyone about just meeting Jesus. And her story in evangelism was the fact that he pulled her card, right? So, right, so the conviction came in a comforting manner. I repented, and and all of the burden and the heaviness of everything just, I was able to shake it off. And then the Lord started doing what the Lord does, just like opening my eyes and showing me and connecting me and showing me that I'm still his and he's in control and he puts things in my path and he is with me and he is carrying me. And although I don't see it, sometimes I don't feel it because I am sometimes dealing with the burden of loneliness down here because, all you guys are in Georgia.
Right.
Right. But he's still with me. He's holding
Right.
me. Right. He's still leading. Right. And then that whole Evan Craft thing happened. And then connecting with Jordy and being able to minister and all these things. Right. And because of all these other people, right? It's like I before that, I didn't feel God. Like I know God is always there, but I didn't feel God. So I felt alone and abandoned by Foursquare as an organization, but then also by God because you're not answering me. You're not telling me what to do. And then he did, and then he showed me. Then he just the blessings and the proving, right? And the proving. Not that he has to prove himself, but he still found it in his mercy and his love for me to show me that he was with me, that he is with me, right? So it was just. So now I'm back brand new. Like I'm ready. Like that's that's not working. Let's run. Let's go.
I'm gonna put a button. All right, so here. So I'm gonna put a button on it.
Button.
I'm gonna put. Hold on a second. It's funny that you said Evan Craft, because because first of all, he's got a couple of songs on that playlist that I got. I gotta resend it to you. The All Good Things playlist, where I just put I just combine all these different playlists from Spotify. But he's got that song. He's got an English version and a Spanish version. Be All Right.
Yeah.
And he's got the one with the Spanish version's got Danny Goki and Redimido, and then the English version has Sam Rivera, and it might be somebody else. I can't think. But, KB. It's got KB and Sam Rivera, which both, it's the remix. It's just funny because the remix is the English version, not the Spanish. That's the Spanish version.
You know what's funny?
That
is, even though the remix is the English version, is the Spanish version that got all the awards and accolades.
That's the one, right? That's the one that popped off. So, so a couple of things popped in my head when you said that. Number one, so it's kind of cool because, some of the lines, right? Some of the lines of the song, I'll never be by myself. I got you right by my side. I know you'll never leave me alone. You're the writer, I'm the poem. Like that was some of the, when you said that song popped in my head because it pops up in my playlist. But that's where you were. Like you were in that lonely space, right? Ready to fight. And that to me, that song is funny because it's like, many things that I've never said, all the things I think about. I never really like to hear that I was wrong. Last time my motivation never saw the sun, super cloudy. I'm used to the night, lost so many things, decided to throw everything and run towards you. Like just this idea that, right, God, that's like in the song, right, these guys are kind of going through all this stuff. But what's the end of it? Everything's going to be all right because I'm giving it to God. And then this is the verse that popped in my head. 2 Chronicles 20:15, which is great. He said, listen, all Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem and King Jehoshaphat. Thus says the Lord to you, do not be afraid and do not be dismayed at this great horde, for the battle is not yours, but God's.
Yeah.
And that the battle is not yours, but that's what popped in my head when you were, when you were saying like, God says, I got this, right? I'll fight this for you. The battle is not yours. It's God's battle. And I think that because we get so frustrated then we forget to, it's like in the movie, it's like in The Flash when when he's talking to Batman, right? And he says, you're the strategist. You're the one that puts together the plan on what we're going to do. Right? God is Batman. Right?
I knew you were going to say that.
Right? He's put together the plan.
I knew you were going to say that. God
Right?
is not.
No, he's not. He's better than Batman. But he put together, but if God is telling you, right? If God tells us, all of us, right? The battle is not, this is a prophet speaking, right? The battle is not yours, it's God's. So why is it God's? Because God's got the plan.
Right.
Right? It wouldn't be his if he didn't have a plan. Right? Because then what kind of God is that? Hey, I got you. It's like in the guy from the Dungeons and Dragons movie where there was like, yeah, I come up with a plan. What happens if the plan doesn't work? Then I come up with another plan.
Oh, with a new plan.
Come up with a new plan. So you come up with plans that fail, right? Right? It's like, well, no, the battle is not yours, right? And so I think you learned that trip, which is amazing, which is why you had a victory even in defeat.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You still had a victory,
even though if anybody else looked at it,
it was a defeat.
It was not a victory.
It was not a victory, but you had a victory.
Why are you so excited? Why are you so happy? Yo.
Yeah.
Good.
So
Are we good?
Yeah.
Good.
So that's it. So I think that's the thing that we could take from your trip to out west for all of us, right? Is that when things get crazy, when they get frustrating, when we get upset, when we just don't know what else to do, and we're just ready to start lashing out and we're ready to start fighting, it's the reminder that the battle's not ours. It's the Lord's.
The battle is the Lord's.
And just trusting him to lead us to where he's going to lead us. I mean, because he still is the shepherd, right? So he's going to lead us where he's going to lead us. And I think that's something we all do well. All of us listening do well to remember is that through all the different things that are the struggles. Okay, Lord, I'm gonna trust that you're gonna guide me. I'm gonna stop fighting this thing. Like you said, you had things open up. Other things will open up. Because that's what we believe. Because we believe God's got that planned out.
Yep.
So yeah, man. So that's dope. That's dope that your Texas trip was good.
Colorín colorado, este cuento se ha acabado.
So,
yeah.
Yo, so with all that, thanks for everybody that hung out. Remember, Second Chronicles 2015 on one last time, and we'll shut it down. And he said, listen, all Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem and King Jehoshaphat, thus says the Lord to you, do not be afraid. Do not be dismayed at this great horde, for the battle is not yours, but God's. So that's it. That's all we need to remember. Thanks, everybody that hung out with us and listened. We'll see y'all next week. As always.
Well, you'll see us next week.
I'll see you next week in our visions. I'm Joaquin.
I'm still Jay.
Peace. Talk to y'all next week.
Thanks for listening. Remember to go to theoverflowpodcast.com to subscribe to the podcast on all streaming platforms and catch up on all the links of the week. And don't forget to follow our playlist on Spotify.